up, I'm from the Diocese of Lansing, so I'll be ordained a priest for the Diocese of Lansing. I grew up kind of in the boondocks down in Hillsdale County. So if you've heard of Hillsdale College, that was that's very close to where I grew up, near kind of Jackson area, so kind of very close to the Ohio border. A little town called North Adams is actually where I grew up. And just start this is a big story in itself, but I'm a convert. I was raised a Mormon in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I converted when I was 16 years old to the Catholic faith, to the one true faith. And in that time, so I won't go into all of that. that would take, but there's a story there too. But when you're converting, I was baptized and confirmed, and you need to pick a confirmation saint, and I felt very drawn to pick Saint John Vianney. If you don't know much about him, he's the patron saint of parish priests. There's like a patron saint for different types of things. He's the patron saint of parish priests, and just a very heroic priest. And I remember when I was 16 years old, when I was converting, thinking about it back in 2009, I was very drawn to St. John Vianney and his life. I thought he was a hero, very heroic man. And so I chose him to be my confirmation saint. And that's, really the beginning. It's a very dangerous thing to pick St. John Vianney as your confirmation saint. That was the beginning. And I sensed, shortly after my conversion that, maybe the Lord is calling type of religious life or priesthood perhaps, and I pondered it for a bit, but then I put it on the back burner. I was a junior in high school when I converted. I was going into my senior year, and my whole life was very dead set on becoming a medical doctor. Nothing in the world was going to change my mind. And so I kind of put the priesthood on the back burner. Graduated from high school, went to college at Oakland University here in Metro Detroit area, and started majoring in biology, studying biology. I eventually switched to biochemistry, and priesthood was on the back burner. I really wanted to be a doctor, but the thing is that this idea that maybe I should be a priest keeps surfacing. It kept kind of harassing me a little bit. And especially this thought of, there's just sort of this nagging feeling and a little bit of a healthy fear of wondering, like, maybe I should look at this. I don't want to get to the end of my life and have wondered my entire life if maybe the Lord was calling me to be a priest. Like, maybe I should have been a priest. I never looked into it. And then freshman or sophomore year, I can't remember exactly when, but I had a very powerful confession. And after the confession, I was praying in the chapel. And this was actually at St. John Fisher Chapel, University Parish there at Oakland. I was praying there, and I felt the Lord tell me, that could be you wearing that stole, referring to the stole that a priest would wear when he hears confessions. And I was, he had me cornered. Couldn't really run anymore. So I started to very seriously consider the priesthood after that point. After, reach out to my vocations director. And for a time, we were deciding what to do. I ended up graduating Oakland because we figured it'd be the best thing to do. And I took a little bit of time off and entered seminary in 2015 of September. A very joyful time for me was actually the Spanish immersion trip we took after my first year in seminary. We went down to Guatemala and Belize. I was, like I said, I grew up in the boondocks, kind of a homebody. So I never, this is definitely the farthest I've ever traveled. And it was just a joyful time, a good time of fraternity with my brothers. It was real solid friendships that, that are going to last me my life were built there. we were in Antigua in Guatemala. It's just a very beautiful area, very beautiful city, and Belize was very, very beautiful. And also kind of being taken out of home helps you grow closer to the Lord, because you don't have anything to rely on, or not as much to rely on, but Him. So that is definitely a favorite memory of mine, I think. And I would have to say the other thing that comes to mind is the 30-day silent retreat. And that was just a very powerful time. I've often described it as as a pinnacle of my seminary formation. It was just 30 days with Jesus, and people always come back very transformed, just more themselves. And it was it can be a very hard time. But at the same time, it was a very, very blessed time, and a time I will always look at with fondness. A time of real building a solid foundation with my relationship with Jesus that's going to continue through my life. Those would be two of my favorite memories from seminary. It's canon law that every man ought to be ordained a deacon or a priest has to do what's called a canonical retreat. So it's at least 5 days of retreat, time of silence. You meet with a director every day, and it's just a time strictly to prepare for ordination. And so I did that just a few weeks ago. I went up to the Keweenaw Peninsula, way up in the UP, and stayed at Holy Transfiguration Skeet, which is a monastery, a Byzantine Catholic monastery. And so I was up there on the shore of Lake Superior, and preparing for the priesthood, asking Jesus, for any last minute graces, what He wants to tell me, what He wants to do to get me ready to be ordained a priest. So that's sort of the essential thing, right? And then this time right now in some ways is very free. I don't have a lot to do, and in some ways I do have a lot to do. Leading up to ordination, a lot of sort of practicalities and stuff like that of planning, but in addition, just trying to stay close to Jesus, to be praying constantly, and just, I suppose, to be humble about the grace that He's about to give me. It's in some ways very overwhelming. It's incredible. The Lord's going to make me a priest. This guy, He's going to make me a priest. And it's very humbling, and just accepting the fact that I'll never be worthy for what He's about to do to me, give to me, and that's okay. So that's sort of the spiritual side, the most important side. There's been practicalities in planning receptions and stuff, but that's really not as important. To be honest, I think more than anything, I just want to be a holy priest. Just want to be a faithful holy priest. I think Father Dan Jones just recently passed away. We actually prayed for him just at the beginning of this interview, and his funeral will be on Wednesday. He was one of the seminary instructors here, and he was a very holy priest. And this is the one thing that he really drummed into our heads, and I think it's the truth. I just want to be a holy priest, and a faithful priest, and just do my best to get out of the way so that Jesus can work through me. I just want to stay close to Him, please God, and let Him work through me, and do my best not to get in the way. And if the Lord gives me the grace to do that, which He wants to, and I accept it, that I'll be very happy.